Thanks, David. As the school year winds down for Green Bay, 4th and 5th graders at Webster Elementary plan to keep their art skills sharp this summer as a way to honor a teacher they lost earlier this school year.
Our teacher, Tanya Paral, died of cancer back in November, and today students celebrated her life. News 5 Lena Bleets joins us now in the studio after attending this afternoon's assembly. Lena.
To honor Tanya, her friends and family created the Tanya Touch project to raise money to provide students with art supplies that they can take home with them and use over the summer. Ultimately, they raised almost $4,000. The project was able to fund 90 tote bags filled with sketchbooks, watercolors, colored pencils, and other art supplies. The celebration event started with students performing 3 songs in Tanya's honor, and then the surprise tote bags were revealed. When told to line up if they were interested in receiving a bag, the students rushed to the stage to get in line and then immediately sat down and started looking through their gifts. Former students and friends shared with me their memories of Tanya and how creating the Tanya Touch project helped them grieve.
We were kind of like her best friends because we used to go with her all the time. We used to skip recess and stay after school with her.
This was a way for us to kind of keep pouring that love into her legacy, and also to these students, to see their faces, just kind of, you forget that you're not alone in the grieving. They're also grieving.
While students were told if they wouldn't use the supplies, then they didn't have to accept a tote bag and it would be given to a younger student. But I didn't see any students opt out. It was all excitement from the 4th and 5th graders. Bill?